What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today on Tactical Pineapple, we're going to talk about ATF infringements again? Yeah, but this one's fucking epic, guys. I'm not even joking. We are going to discuss the ATF raiding an Amish fucking dairy farmer, what it means, why it's completely a fucking infringement, and what the fuck. All right, so before we get into this one, folks, I just want to tell you, yes, you can support the channel. You can do it by going to tacticalpineapple.com/support. We've got vinyl there. That's all ordered through Operator Tony. We've got the store link there. We've got affiliate links up. Some of those affiliate links aren't even paying me. It's just I fucking want to support those guys, so I put them up there. That's cool. That's great. If you guys want to do that, awesome, incredible. You fucking rock. But as you know, for pretty much all the videos for the last week, if you go down to the description, there's a link to a GoFundMe for Matt Hoover of CRS Firearms. I would appreciate if you're going to support me, support him first. He needs our help more than I need the $3 that I'm going to make on a fucking t-shirt. So without further ado, let's get into the jackboots licking at our fucking toes. All right, so obviously it seems like a fucking broken record, but I'm here to talk about ATF fucking infringements one more goddamn time, and I'll probably do it again and again and again because as soon as I fucking hear this news, I flip my goddamn lid. I'm like, what the fuck? Are we serious? Yes, we're serious. And as I said in the intro, and as you've probably seen by the description, the ATF has raided an Amish dairy farmer. Now, this is probably old news to some. I know this has been probably, I think, about 2 weeks ago already, but just doing a little bit of research on it, I cannot believe this happened. So, a couple others have already reported in the gun tube community, but not really talked too much about it. So, apparently, the ATF raided the farm of one Reuben King in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Of course, right? We're talking Amish country. Everybody knows Lancaster County, Pennsylvania is heavily Amish country, but this was an Amish dairy farmer. On the property, he also has a foundry. I believe it's known as King Foundry in Lancaster County. A lot of people all over this country actually get parts and components from King Foundry. So this is interesting. We'll see how this plays out. Anyways, they picked him up, or they raided the place based on the fact that they got a tip saying that he's a supposed gun dealer to the Amish. And apparently, according to this tip, they said that he has sold over 600 firearms to the Amish community, which, number one, wow. That's an impressive fucking number of guns to sell to the Amish community, especially considering they're considered a very, very peaceful, group of individuals. That being said, this is not Amish Mafia. This is not a fucking joke. Reuben King is the name of the farm owner that is being persecuted for this. He is being basically chastised for it. But, he's got his head on his shoulders. He kind of, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that he's gotten some post-education because I know a lot of Amish people, I know their grade schools and stuff like that, they basically don't graduate past the 8th grade. And this is due to attempting to keep their ways, which they've done really well for themselves. For a group of people that in 1950 they figured within 20 years they wouldn't exist. Since 1950 they've more than doubled their size. So from 1950 to today, they've gone from about 45,000 to 90,000 people who are Amish in this country. Oddly enough, they are only here in America at this point. So good for them. Congratulations on surviving apart from everything else. But let's get down into the brass tacks of this. So I do have some notes. You're going to see me looking down just a little bit, but it is what it is. I just want to make sure I get some things right. So King claims that he has been selling his personal gun collection to Amish families within the community. Most of those guns are being sold for hunting purposes, which makes sense. I mean, provide your own food, provide your own family, all this other stuff, it makes sense that they would be hunting. That being said, obviously, they don't have hunting licenses because you can't, in the Amish community, have a photo identification, which is crucial into why they would come to this man to purchase firearms. Now, he's not necessarily saying that he is selling firearms as a dealer. He has not said that. He is not going to say that because he seems like he's a relatively smart individual. So he has literally said that he is selling guns from his personal collection, but 600 seems rather high, according to him, which it kind of really does. Now, I've done a lot of research on Pennsylvania gun laws because obviously I'm not from Pennsylvania, so knowing Pennsylvania gun laws is not something that I'm really adept at. But I did go through and look, and there's absolutely nothing in Pennsylvania gun law that says personal sales of guns can't happen. Now, in Pennsylvania, sales of handguns are required to go through an FFL, required to background check, things like that, even if they're personal sale firearms. These are long guns. It's always been about long guns. Nobody is claiming he's selling handguns to anybody. So this is 100% about long guns. Now, it's important to understand that the burden of the proof does fall on the feds to prove that King was operating an illegal firearms dealership, essentially. He does maintain these were 100% all private sales. And like I said, Pennsylvania law is very clear. Personal sale of long guns is unregulated, essentially. An individual can sell however many long guns they want to sell from their own personal collection to however many people are willing to buy them. There is not, and I go even further in saying this, there is nothing in Pennsylvania law, and there is nothing in federal law that says a person can only sell X number of guns per year or X number of guns total before they're required to have a federal firearms license. That's crucial because the reality is as long as he maintains they were personal firearms, the state and the federal government essentially have to prove that the primary purpose of him selling firearms was to turn a profit, which would make it a business venture, right? As soon as it becomes a business venture, you need a business license, you need a federal firearms license, and then you can get yourself into an issue. But he's never sold handguns. He's only sold long guns. Nobody knows what he's selling them for. He could honestly be losing money selling these guns to the Amish community, and the federal government would fall flat on their face. The fact that they're literally doing this all based on a tip was fucking ridiculous. But I digress. Even ATF documentation says, for this particular case, that it is a general rule that you will need a federal firearms license if you repeatedly buy and sell guns with a principal purpose or principal motive of making a profit. Now, like I said, this guy's got a dairy farm that's highly successful. This guy has a foundry on his property. That's probably pretty highly successful. He's probably making pretty decent money out of both of those, especially considering the price of fucking materials and shit right now. Foundry work is probably paying very well. So the fact that he's sold maybe 600 guns for, let's say, even if he did turn a profit of between $10 and $50 a piece, he's not making fucking bank compared to everything else. So he's going to have a pretty good defense against pretty much all of that. But I do want to get back to the whole, due to their religion, the Amish are not allowed photo identification. As a matter of fact, it's against their religion completely to have any modern technology in existence. So you can get a picture drawn of yourself, but it's still considered vain. So even a picture drawing isn't allowed. Their religion legitimately says it. So based on this, there would be no option for them to purchase a firearm legally through an FFL. So they could only obviously purchase them through personal transfer. This has probably been happening for hundreds of years at this point, right? Amish individuals who want guns have to buy them from somebody who already has them and is willing to sell them on a personal level. Now, there's a lot of issues when it comes to religion and separation of church and state and things like that, especially when it comes to the Amish. And only when it comes to protecting their ways do they really get into the legal battles. And that's what I'm kind of concerned about this, because essentially this Amish individual is facing a pretty severe penalty if he's found guilty. And according to their religion, they can't really fight against the government. They can't really fight against the ATF when they say this stuff, and they can't really fight in the courts. It's against their beliefs. It's against the way they think. So hopefully he stands up, because this is kind of about defending the way they process their stuff, their way of life. Which, when it comes to their way of life, they will definitely defend that stuff in the court system. Most people don't follow Amish law and things that are really pertaining to it, but I've kind of done some digging to see if there's any precedent here or anything like that, because a lot of people believe the Amish kind of live outside of the laws of the community. They don't go to law enforcement for a lot of things. They don't really participate in the community actions. Now, they do pay taxes. They pay state taxes. They pay federal taxes. They pay property taxes. They pay income taxes. They pay sales taxes. So this is a very unique thing. So the Christian churches, the Catholic churches, the Jewish synagogues, all of these people, they don't have to pay taxes because they file X amount of fucking documents, but the Amish churches pay taxes, which is very weird in and of itself, but I don't believe they understand or know the loopholes that allow them to actually get out of paying those taxes. Interestingly enough, this whole community in and of itself has done a lot for our rights, and people don't even realize it. A lot of these people who are out here claiming religious exemption from the vaccine, you only technically have that right based on the fights that have already been put forth, majority by the Amish community. So the one landmark case that I'm really hoping they invoke here, because I really, if you look at it, they're really kind of in breach of it, comes from Wisconsin v. Yoder. It's the United States Supreme Court landmark case that really said that, and this was all related to compulsory school laws. So saying the Amish had to go to school XYZ, and it was blah, blah, blah. But regardless of what it was about, what was said matters. And I have notes here for it just because they ruled that the compulsory school laws unjustifiably interfered with the Amish practice of their religion in violation of their First and 14th Amendment. This is huge. Okay, so number one, this is setting up the fact that regardless of the fact that they consider themselves outside of the community, they are Americans. They do have constitutional rights, specifically in this case, the First and 14th Amendment. So even though they technically are outside of the United States government, they're technically their own people. Really, they're like the last kind of set up group of homesteaders when you actually kind of think about the way things are set up. But they do have constitutional protection. They are American citizens. So they have a First and a 14th Amendment right, which would also mean they have a Second Amendment right. And the government shall not infringe upon that right in any way, shape, or form. The requirement of photo identification, which goes against their religion, technically is in violation of both their First and Second Amendment rights. So this could get very gritty. This could go straight to the Supreme Court in all. Interestingly enough, one of the ruling, Supreme Courts in the case of Wisconsin v. Yoder was actually I want to get this right. Justin Brandiers. I probably fucked that name up, but it's all right. Government jackboot anyways. But he literally said the right, the most comprehensive of rights, and the right most valued by civilized men is that the right of the plain people to be left alone. So literally, they've identified them particularly as the plain people, and it is their right to be left alone under their religious beliefs, even though they are constitutionally protected. So now that is kind of the separation of the community from the legislative action, basically. Now, if any of these guns were found to be used in a crime, I could see there being a fucking problem. But realistically, where are the guns? Are they going after the fucking Amish kids who bought the guns to go hunting? Are they going after fucking Thomas Yoder down the street? I don't know. Maybe they're going to start fucking pulling buggies over and starting jacking people up. I don't fucking know. But this is absolutely getting ridiculous. So the reality is it just looks like another infringement of rights, right, by the ATF. This is all being pushed by Joe Biden's ATF, and they're performing these essentially, if you look at it, it's almost like they're doing all of these different little things that you wouldn't think they would ever fucking do. They're doing them as a way to kind of redefine gun laws and gun legislation. Because now they're saying, oh, we're going to attack the personal sale of firearms over here. And we're probably not going to get any pushback on it. So we're going to set precedent. They're going to set precedent in a case against an Amish guy for selling personal firearms to his Amish community. What the fuck? It's not even wrong. That's what I'm thinking. It's almost 100% guaranteed that's what's happening. But on the other end, what's happening with Matt? They're literally declaring that his affiliation with a company that sold a piece of sheet steel, regardless of what you think, it was a piece of fucking sheet steel. That sheet steel was declared a machine gun. And now you can't fucking sell it. And his affiliation with it is now considered conspiracy. So we're just going to fucking turn the whole world upside down and see what the fuck shakes out. That's what seems like it's happening here. So stick around. I'm fucking digging into ATF infringements. I know they happen all the time. This is just another fucking example. So it seems comical. It seems like it's a fucking joke. But this shit is literally happening, and it's fucking accelerating. So I don't know where the line is. I'm never going to tell you where that fucking line is. All I'm going to say is when the frog fucking leaps, I'm fucking ready. Anyways, if you've made it to this point of the video, like, comment, subscribe. Go on in the comment section. I want to hear from you guys. Anything, whatever. I don't care. Until next time, folks, carry your pistols. Brandon fucking hates them.